Hello and welcome back to today's tutorial where I want to teach you how to implement token gating functionalities with Collab.Land inside of your React applications. So I will start off by creating a new React app. So let's do that with npx create React app and let's call it TGR example. Great. So now that our application is created, I'm going to cd into the TGR example and let's open that up in VS Code. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the integrated terminal and I'm going to run yarn start to start our React development server. And now that it's started, if we look at localhost 3000, we should see our React project. Great. So actually three things that we're going to do is I'm going to open app.js and you see that we've got the learn React link here. I'm going to get rid of that and let's define what we want to do in this project, right? First things first, I want to collect user's wallet address. All right. When we collect the user's wallet address, the next thing we want to do is we want to define our token gating rules. Remember, we are trying to token gate this website with any on-chain asset, right? In my case, I'm going to use an NFT that I have on OpenSea, but you can use whatever on-chain asset you prefer. So I'm going to make it so that only users who have that NFT on their wallet would get access to the rest of my site, right? So first things first is you get the user's wallet address so you can check against that wallet if the NFT exists. The next thing you want to do is define the token gating rules, which is basically a way for you to configure what on-chain assets you require them to have, right? And the last thing would be to check if user is eligible to view content, or to be more precise, check if user's wallet has required tokens, right? That is more precise. And if they do, then if user has required token, allow access to content. All right, okay, that's okay. I can live with that. I'm just going to get rid of this in the meantime. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a button. And this button is going to ask the user to connect their wallet, right? And then I'm going to have a second button that is going to ask the users to not check token balance, but access site, right? So first thing they want to do is they connect their wallet address. And when we've got the wallet address and we have our token gating rules, then they can click access site to get access to the rest of the site. All right, so the first things first is let's set up our button. This is going to say on click, let's say connect wallet. So let's define this function, connect wallet. And what we want to do here is check if window.ethereum, and if that is the case, we are going to do a try catch. Copilot is helping out. I'll take that. Windows, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is store this in local storage right now. If we've collected the user's wallet address, and we're going to try this in a second. If we have the user's wallet address, we want to save it into local storage, right? And we also just log it to the console to be sure that that's working. So that's the first thing. I'm going to close the console here and I'm going to go test this out on the browser. So I have my two buttons, not looking pretty, but that's okay. I want to disconnect all the wallets that are connected to this site. So we can start from scratch, disconnect this account, great. Okay, so I'm going to click that button, connect wallet, and it's going to prompt me to connect my wallet. This is MetaMask. I'll connect my wallet. That's good. I want to see that it's logged to the console. I'm going to do that again. I see that it's logged to the console now, right? So first step is done. The next step will be to define the token gating rules, which is simply just an array that holds the tokens that we require the users to have in their wallet, right? So let's do that. I'm going to do const token gating rule is going to be an array of objects, and each object is going to hold each one rule. So let me go to the Collab.Land documentation, go to developers. I think we have a tutorial on token gating, and this can show you exactly how to define your token gating rules, right? In my case, I'm going to define it like this. So this is the rules object. I'm going to copy this particular object, and that's what I'm going to place here in my token gating rules. So here I'm just going to make this a string and then change out these values because I don't know what these values are going to be yet, right? So the chain ID, okay, you know what? Let's check my OpenSea. All right, so if you click on the details tab, you should see the tokens contract address. You see that it's on Polygon chain. You know what? Let's grab all those information right away. So I'm going to grab this contract address, and I'm going to put that in here. And then the chain ID is 137 for Polygon. Minimum required token will be 1. Role ID is member role. That's okay with me. And the type, I think it's ERC1155, if I remember correctly. It is 1155, so let's do that here. ERC1155. So this is our token gating rule, right? So when this user connects their wallet address, we will check if this token exists on that wallet. And if it does exist, then we give them access to the rest of the site. So how do we check if the user's wallet has the required tokens? That's where we make an API call to Collab.Land, right? So let's, to be able to communicate with Collab.Land, you first need to get access to an API key, right? And to get an API key, you need to create a client application on the Collab.Land dev portal. So let's go ahead and do that. It's devportal.collab.land. So I'm going to log in with Discord. I'm going to authorize this, and this should give me access to my dashboard, right? So I'm going to create a new client application. It's called request API access. So I'm going to name this TGR example because that's what I'm calling my React site. Icon URL, I can leave empty. Email, I will provide Kenny@collab.land because I want to get notified when my subscription is running out. Project URL, I'm going to leave that for now. My project is currently running on localhost, so I'm going to specify that to be my redirect URL, and maybe roles, just because I want to do that. I heard about you from Twitter, and let me submit this. Collab.Land will create a client application for me, and now I have access to an API key. So I'm going to copy this. And then you should also copy all of this information and save them, because once you return to dashboard, you would not have access to this information again. So I'm going to copy this and save that in an environment variable. So let's call this React app collab key, like that. So I'm going to save that. And then now that I have an API key, I can specify the function to check if the tokens that I've specified exist on the user's wallet. So let's call it check roles. Right, and this is going to basically make an API call to Collab.Land's check rules endpoint. And let's see what that looks like from the documentation. So this is the endpoint, but as you can see, it currently has a QA on it, but we are operating on the production environment. So I'm going to get rid of the QA and basically just use this entire thing. So for this, I'm going to paste this here, and I'm going to get rid of QA since we are in production. And for this is going to be my token gated rule, and the wallet address, we are going to get that from local storage .get item wallet address. Save that. That's great. And then the only thing that is left for us to do is to get access to the response data, right? And to do that, I'm going to just come here and do const data equals to await response. And then let me log that data to the console to see what it looks like, right? Great. So let's save that and see if, what do we need to do? Next, we want to connect this check rows function to the access site button. So let's add on click here and pass in check rows and save that. Okay, I'm going to need to restart my server since I added a new environment variable so that it gets picked up. Great. So now I have this, my wallet is connected. I can confirm that by clicking it. And then I can click access site. And I see 401, this is not authorized. Okay, so why is that? Collab key. Okay, so this is supposed to be React app collab. Oh, I see collab key. Let me do collab key. Yeah, just so that it makes sense. So I'll save that and paste that here. Yes, I do need to restart the server. So let's try that again. Access site. There you go. So now we are no longer unauthorized and we have granted true. Okay. The next thing we want to do is to conditionally show content based on the role being granted for this user, right? So let's use, let's import use state from React. And so we can define a variable here. Let's call it is granted, I guess. We can do that. Set it initially to false. And if that role is granted, so let's create a gated content here. Let's have, if this is granted, we can have a div that says access is granted. And if that is not the case, we can have another div that says access is denied, right? So basically, this is going to be the content you see if the access is granted for you, if you have the required token in your wallet. Otherwise, you get access denied. So let's save that and see what happens. Access denied, and that is because this API call has already gone through and the information already exists locally on the local storage. So we just read that information from there and let you know if you have access or not. And to test that out, I'm going to disconnect my existing wallet. I'm going to disconnect this wallet and connect a new wallet. And we'll see if we get access granted again. So let's connect wallet. I'm going to connect a different wallet. And now I see access denied. So I can't view the previous content that I had access to before because I'm using a different wallet that doesn't have the required token. So this is how easy and straightforward it can be to create a token gated website with React and Collab.Land. Let me know if this is helpful to you, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments.